I trusted my cousin to help care for our elderly grandmother while I worked long hours. But when I visited unexpectedly, I found her alone and neglected. While my cousin used the care money for shopping and vacations, and I'm writing this because I need to get it out, I need someone to know what kind of person I really am. What I did to my own family, to my grandmother who raised me, it started innocent enough. That's what I keep telling myself, but deep down I know better. Sarah, my fiancée of 3 years, had been begging more with Grandma Rose's care. At 89, Grandma needed someone checking on her daily, helping with medications, groceries, basic stuff. Sarah had been doing it for months while working her own full-time job. I can't keep doing this alone, Sarah told me one night, exhaustion written all over her face. Your cousin Emma offered to help. She's between jobs right now. My wild child cousin who bounced from relationship to relationship, job to job. But family is family, right? And she seemed genuinely concerned about Grandma when she offered. She just needs some structure. I convinced Sarah. Maybe this will be good for both of them. Sarah looked at me like I was crazy. Are you sure? Emma's never been irresponsible. God, I should have listened. We set up a simple arrangement. Emma would visit Grandma 3 times a week, Emma her medications, do light grocery shopping. In return I'd pay her $800 a month from Grandma's care fund. It seemed perfect. For the first month everything looked great. Emma sent regular updates. Grandma ate well today, picked up her prescriptions, watched her favorite shows there. Sarah was relieved. I felt like a problem solver. We even started planning our wedding again, something we'd put on hold because of the care situation. That's when Emma started asking for advances. Hey cuz, could you spot me this month's payment early? I need to get Grandma some special groceries. Then, the pharmacy wants payment upfront for her new medication. Then, Grandma needs a new chair for her back problems. I sent the money every time. Family helps family. Emma was doing us a favor after all. Sarah started getting suspicious when Emma posted vague photos on social media. Wait, Sarah showed me her phone. Didn't you just send Emma $400 for Grandma's medication last week? There was Emma poolside in Miami, designer sunglasses, expensive drinks. The timestamp was 3 days ago. Maybe she had the trip planned before. With what money? She's been unemployed for 6 months. The sick feeling in my stomach started then. But I pushed it down. Emma wouldn't steal from Grandma, she wouldn't lie to me. Sarah wanted to visit Grandma immediately, but I made excuses. Emma said she's been tired, overwhelmed her. 2 weeks later, Sarah insisted. I'm going over there tomorrow after work. Something's not right. I panicked. I'll go instead. You've been working so hard. That decision haunts me. Because when I got there using my key to let myself in, I found something that changed. The house was dark. Really dark. Like no one had been there in days. Grandma, I called out. I found her in her bedroom, still in the same nightgown I'd seen her in a week ago. She was thin. Thinner than I'd ever seen her. Her medication organizer was empty. The refrigerator had spoiled 2 weeks ago. Denny. Her voice was so weak. I've been waiting for someone to come. My heart shattered. Where's Emma? Grandma, hasn't she been visiting? Grandma's eyes were confused, distant. Emma, I haven't seen Emma. I don't know. Days. Weeks. Time feels funny now. I checked the pressure bottles. Most were empty. The ones that weren't were expired. I called Emma immediately. Hey cuz, how's it going? In the background I could hear music louder. She was at some party. Emma, when was the last time you saw Grandma? Oh, yesterday? She was doing great. I was standing in Grandma's kitchen, looking at dishes that hadn't been washed in days. Emma, I'm at Grandma's house right now. She says she hasn't seen you in weeks. Silence. Long, terrible silence. Look, I've been meaning to talk to you about that. About what? About lying to me. About taking money for care you never provided. It's not that simple, Danny. Grandma gets confused sometimes. She probably just forgot. I hung up. My hands were shaking. I spent the next 4 hours getting Grandma cleaned up, fed and comfortable. I refilled her prescriptions, bought groceries, and tried to figure out how long she'd been alone. When Sarah arrived that evening I'd texted her to come. She took one look at the situation and didn't say a word. She just started helping. Later, as we sat in Grandma's living room watching her sleep peaceful for the first time in who knows how long, Sarah finally spoke. How much money did you give Emma? I did the math in my head. About $4,000 over 3 months. 8 in that time. How often did you actually check on your grandmother yourself? The answer was devastating. Twice. I'd visited twice in 3 months, both times when Emma said she'd be there. I trusted her, I said pathetically. Sarah looked at me with something I'd never seen before. Disappointment. Deep, deep disappointment. You trusted her more than you trusted me. More than you trusted yourself to take care of the woman who raised you. She was right. When Sarah had expressed concerns about Emma, I'd dismissed them. When she'd wanted to visit Grandma, I'd made excuses. When she'd questioned Emma's sudden lifestyle upgrade, I'd defended my cousin. I'd chosen the easy lie over the hard truth, and Grandma had paid the price. That night, Sarah slept in the guest room at Grandma's house. I slept on the couch listening to my grandmother's breathing, terrified it might stop. Emma never returned my calls. Her social media showed her at a spa weekend, posting inspirational quotes about living your best life. I'd trusted the wrong person with the most important person in my life. And now I had to live what that betrayal had cost. But the worst part, this was just the beginning of how badly I'd famed to love. The next morning, I woke up to find Sarah packing Grandma's medications into a bag. What are you doing? Taking her to the doctor. She's dehydrated, malnourished, and who knows what else. Sarah's voice was clinical, detached. I called in sick to work. I should have taken responsibility. Instead, I made the second worst decision of my life. I have that presentation today. The Morrison account. I can't miss it. Sarah stopped packing and stared at me. Your grandmother was abandoned for weeks and you're worried about a presentation. It's not your presentation. It's my career. Our future. She laughed, but there was no humor in it. Danny, your 89-year-old grandmother was sitting in her own waste because you couldn't be bothered to check on the person you hired. And you're still choosing work. I felt defensive. It's not fair. I was trying to help by getting Emma involved. You were trying to make the problem disappear. There's a difference. She was right, but I couldn't admit it then. My pride, my ego, my desperate need to be the guy who had everything figured out. I'll make it up to her. To both of you. But this presentation, go, Sarah's voice was flat. I'll handle your responsibilities. Again. I left. God help me, I left my sick grandmother and my exhausted fiancé to go sell advertising campaigns to people who didn't matter. The presentation went perfectly. The client loved my ideas, my boss praised my dedication. I felt like I was back in control until I got home. Sarah was sitting at our kitchen table with a stack of papers, bank statements, credit card bills, receipts. We need to talk. I sat down, still high from my work success. How's grandma? She'll leave. No thanks to us. Sarah pushed the papers toward me. But we have bigger problems. The papers were Emma's social media posts printed out and dated. The spa weekend, the Miami vacation, the trips, the expensive restaurants. I did some math. Sarah said, in the 3 months you've been paying Emma, she spent approximately $12,000 on luxuries. You gave her $4,000. My stomach dropped. Maybe she had savings. Danny. Sarah's voice was deadly calm. Emma filed for bankruptcy 8 months ago. I looked it up. Public record started spinning. She used your grandmother's care money as seed money. For credit cards, for loans. She told people she had a steady income now thanks to her caregiver job. I felt sick. Physically sick. It gets worse. Sarah pulled out more papers. I called some of the donors supposed to get services from. The physical therapy you've been paying for. Never happened. The meal delivery service. Cancelled after the first week. The medication management system. Emma called and cancelled it. Said grandma didn't need it anymore. Every revelation was a punch to the gut. So Emma wasn't just neglecting grandma. She was actively preventing her from getting care so no one would discover the truth. I couldn't speak. Couldn't breathe. And you know what the worst part is? Sarah's voice cracked for the first time. I tried to tell you, multiple times, but you shut me down every single time because you didn't want to deal with the possibility that your solution wasn't working. She was crying now, angry tears. I watched you choose believing Emma's lies over trusting my concerns. I watched you choose your work over your family. I watched you choose your ego over your grandmother's life. Sarah, I'm not done. She wiped her eyes. Do you know what grandma said to me today at the doctor's office? I shook my head. She said, I thought Danny forgot about me. She thought you'd abandoned her. Your own grandmother, who raised you when your parents died, thought you just stopped caring. The words hit me like physical blows. And the truly sick part, she was making excuses for you. Saying you must be busy, you must have important things to do. She was protecting you even while you were failing her. I tried to reach for Sarah's hand but she pulled away. I can't do this anymore. What do you mean? I mean I can't watch you choose everything else over the people who love you. I can't be with someone who lies to himself so completely that he lets his own family suffer. Sarah, please. I made mistakes but. Her voice rose. Danny, your grandmother could have died. She was taking expired medication, eating spoiled food, falling asleep in dirty clothes because she didn't have the strength to change them. This wasn't a mistake. This was negligence. She stood up, grabbing her keys. Where are you going? To stay with my sister. I need to think. For how long? Sarah looked at me with such sadness. I don't know. After she left I sat in our empty house, looking at the evidence of Emma's betrayal spread across the table. But the papers felt like evidence of my own betrayal too. I'd betrayed Sarah's trust by dismissing her concerns. I'd betrayed grandma's lead by choosing convenience over care. I'd betrayed my own values by pretending everything was fine when I knew it wasn't. I called Emma one more time. This time she answered. Danny, I was just about to call you. Stop. My voice was dead. Just stop lying. I don't know. Note the spa weekend. The vacation. The shopping. I know you haven't seen grandma in weeks. Silence. I need my money back. All of it. Emma laughed. Actually laughed. What money? I provided services. You provided nothing, less than nothing. You actively made things worse. Prove it. The casual cruelty in her voice shocked me. This was family. Someone I'd grown up with. Trusted, defended. I don't need to prove it. I know what I saw. And I know what a jury would see. An old woman with dementia making confused claims about her care. Good luck with that. She hung up. I sat in the silence of my house, understanding for the first time that I was completely alone. Emma was gone, Sarah was gone, and Grandma was lying in a hospital bed, being cared for by strangers because I'd failed her so completely. The worst part was knowing this was all my fault. Emma was who she'd always been. I was the one who changed. I was the one who'd chosen willful blindness over difficult truths. And now I was paying the price for every convenient lie I'd told myself. But even then I had no idea how much more I was about to lose. The call came at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday. Grandma had fallen. The neighbor heard a crash and found her on the kitchen floor, confused and crying. She'd been trying to make tea, forgetting that I'd moved in with her temporarily after Sarah left. At the hospital the doctor pulled me aside. Your grandmother has a fractured hip and severe dehydration, but I'm more concerned about her mental state. She keeps asking for Emma, saying Emma promised to come back. My heart sank. Even after everything, Grandma still trusted Emma more than she trusted that I'd take care of her. Doctor, about Emma. The younger who was providing care. Your grandmother mentions her constantly. She seems very attached. I couldn't bring myself to explain. How do you tell a doctor that your grandmother's caregiver was that your family member had abandoned her for designer handbags? Emma won't be helping anymore. The surgery went well but recovery was hard. Grandma was confused, scared, and kept asking why Emma hadn't visited. I spent every day at the hospital, trying to make up for months of neglect. That's where Sarah found me a week later. She looked terrible. Thin, tired, like she hadn't been sleeping. Recovering. Slowly. I couldn't meet her eyes. The doctor says she might need long-term care now. The fall, the neglect, it's taken a toll. Sarah sat down in the uncomfortable hospital chair. We sat in silence watching Grandma sleep. I think Sarah finally said. My heart jumped. Maybe she was coming back. Maybe we could fix this. I'm moving to Portland. My sister found me a job there. The words hit me like ice water. Sarah, please. I know I messed up, but you didn't mess up, Danny. You chose to mess up. Every single day for 3 months, you chose to believe lies because they were either the truth. She was right. I can change. I can do better. I believe you can. But I can't watch you learn how to be a decent person at the expense of the people you're supposed to love. She reached into her purse and pulled out a small box. Her engagement ring. I can't marry someone I can't trust, and I can't trust someone who lies to himself. I wanted to argue, to fight, to promise I'd be different. But sitting in that hospital room, looking at my grandmother hooked up to machines because of my failures, I knew Sarah was making the right choice. I know, whispered. I know you are. But sorry doesn't fix what happened to Grandma. Sorry doesn't give me back the trust I lost in you. Sorry doesn't undo the months of watching you choose everything else over what mattered. After Sarah left, I called my boss and took a leave of absence. I moved into Grandma's house and started the process of finding her proper care. It was expensive, complicated and heartbreaking. The worst part was the insurance investigation. Apparently, when you pay someone for care services that aren't provided, and a person ends up hospitalized, there are questions, legal questions. Emma had disappeared completely, social media accounts to phone disconnected, even her apartment abandoned. She'd taken the money and run, leaving me to explain to investigators why my grandmother had been neglected while I paid for her care. The case worker was blunt. Mr. Peterson, your grandmother's condition is consistent with extended neglect. The fact that you were paying for services that weren't provided doesn't absolve you of responsibility for oversight. I wasn't charged with anything, but the message was clear. I'd failed in my duty of care. I'd chosen to trust a known liar over doing the hard work of caring for family. Grandma moved into a care facility 3 months later. On the day we packed up her house, she sat in her wheelchair, watching me box up her belongings. Danny, yes Grandma, what happened to Emma? She promised she'd come back. I knelt down next to her chair. For months I'd been avoiding this conversation, making excuses, changing the subject. Emma lied to us, Grandma. She took money to take care of you, but she didn't do it. She spent the money on herself and left you alone. Grandma's eyes filled with tears. But she was so nice. She said she loved me. Ah, I know, I believed it, me too. The question broke something inside me. No, Grandma. Not even as I said it, I knew the damage was done. My grandmother would spend her final years in a facility, surrounded by strangers because I'd chosen convenience over care. Sarah was gone, building a new life across the country without me. Emma had vanished with thousands of dollars and left destruction in her wake. I visit Grandma twice a week now. We watch her shows together, and I help her with dinner. She still asks about Emma sometimes, and I tell her the truth every time. That Emma betrayed us. That I should have protected her better. Last week, Grandma asked me something that keeps me awake at night. Denny, if you had to choose between Emma and me, who would you choose? The question destroyed me because we both knew the answer. For 3 months I had chosen Emma. I'd chosen her lies over Grandma's well-being. I'd chosen her convenience over Sarah's concerns. I'd chosen her easy solutions over doing the work of caring for family. I choose you, Grandma, always. She patted my hand with her frail fingers. I know that now. But I didn't know it then. That's what haunts me. In her moment of greatest need, my grandmother wasn't sure if I loved her enough to choose her. The person who raised me, who sacrificed everything for me, died a little inside, wondering if I'd abandoned her. I've tried reaching out to Sarah a few times. She's polite but distant. She has a new job she loves, a new life. She sends a Christmas card every year with no return address. Emma resurfaced in social media 6 months ago, posting from somewhere in California. New hair, new name, new con. She looks happy, successful, free. Sometimes I wonder if she even remembers Grandma's name. I work a different job now, something with reasonable hours that lets me visit Grandma regularly. I live in a small apartment and drive an old car. Most of my money goes to Grandma's care and paying back the debts Emma left behind. People ask me why I don't date, why I don't seem interested in starting over. How do I explain that I discovered something terrible about myself? That when it mattered most, I chose believing lies over protecting love. I don't trust myself to choose correctly anymore. I don't trust myself to recognize truth over convenience. I don't trust myself to love someone without failing them when they need me most. The worst part is knowing that if Emma called tomorrow with some sob story, some emergency that required my help, part of me would want to believe her. That's how deep my need for easy answers goes. Some betrayals you commit against others. But the worst ones are the betrayals you against your own values, your own love, your own family. Grandma forgave me, but she shouldn't have had to. Sarah forgave me, but she was smart enough to leave anyway. Emma never asked for forgiveness because she never thought she did anything wrong. And me. I'll spend the rest of my life trying to forgive myself for choosing a comfortable lie over an inconvenient truth, and destroying everything real I had in the process. Trust isn't just something you give to other people. It's something you have to earn from yourself, every single day, and once you break it, some pieces never fit back together again.